My name is Lawrence Hill. Roll one, scene one, take one.
What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
Well, I had muesli. That isn't that boring. What kind of self-respecting writer has muesli for breakfast? It should have been scotch.
Favorite word?
Idiosyncrasy is pretty good. It has 6 syllables.
Best way to get to know someone?
Go camping and have the tent collapse in the middle of a rainstorm. Then you're going to get a better idea of who they are. So I guess the best way to get to know someone is the same thing you need to do to characters in fiction. Put them under pressure. That's when their colors come out.
Favorite Canadian city?
Favorite Canadian city? That could get me into a lot of trouble. Winnipeg is among my favorite places in Canada. Yeah, I set my first novel there. You have to love a city that gives you a novel. And so Winnipeg is among my favorite places in Canada. But to be fair, there are a lot of places I love in this country.
Writing in the morning or writing at night?
Morning, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite athlete?
I'd say my favorite athlete is probably Muhammad Ali. Not for the boxing, but for his opposition to the Vietnam War, for the personal price he paid.
Is there really no such thing as a stupid question?
It's not stupid to reveal your lack of knowledge about something, but if you come at something with a kind of a blunt, aggressive ignorance, and sometimes people do ask questions with blunt, aggressive positioning, in the revealing of value, in their question, which can be hurtful, sure, there can be stupid questions.
How do you recharge your mind?
I like to walk and run and swim and anything that involves self-locomotion.
Best piece of writing advice you ever got?
Don't think, just write.
Is that the same advice you give to young writers?
I do encourage young writers to write with speed, and I also encourage young writers to discard what everybody seems to tell them, which is to write about what you know. I think that's just a limiting thing to say to people. Anyway, what do you know? Do you know it because you lived it in your backyard when you were 8 years old? What if you dreamt about it? What if you imagined it? What if you met somebody who did it and you've been thinking about it for 15 years? What if you read 10 books about it and you become totally passionate on the subject? What constitutes knowledge? When you tell a person to write what you know, you're basically saying, don't you dare write outside your own lived experience? And I think that's the last thing you should be telling a novelist.
Pen, paper, typewriter, or computer?
Well, I learned to write on the typewriter. Keys were blacked out, and my grade 8 teacher would whack our fingers with a metal edged ruler if we looked down. So I learned to type with my eyes shut, but now I use what we used to call a word processor. And occasionally I handwrite for second drafts.
How about your favorite punctuation mark?
I like the semicolon a lot. It's so ambiguous and people misuse it all the time. I'm sure I do too. The semicolon's a good device for a novelist. It kind of gives you space in a sentence to take off and ramble.
Where's home?
I've been wondering about that for 10 books.
Who is Lawrence Hill in 3 words?
A Canadian writer.